Welcome back to another breakdown. Today we're going to be unveiling the pyramid drill part 3. So those of you that have been getting in touch with me since the beginning, most of the time we've been discussing the concepts around the pyramid drill, and I've been getting myself to the gym and recording this structure for you so that we can try to learn how to do it ourselves and add it into our game. For those of you that have seen part 1 and part 2, this will look a little bit familiar to you. We did a bit of a review on this footage with Canelo before, and we also spent some time looking at Ilya and how he uses the movement to be defensive but also be offensive as well. Let's now have a look at me doing what I call phase 3 of the pyramid drill, and then once you understand what we're looking at, we'll come back and look at the footage and try to recognize where this fits in and have a look at some ways that you can begin to implement this stuff as well, no matter how much boxing experience you have. Literally, if you can stand on 2 feet and move your shoulders from side to side, you're going to have a pretty good chance of being able to implement the drill to a degree that will allow you to do the movement. And once you have the idea in your mind, you're going to be able to start using it in your sparring or just in your shadowboxing, and that's the most important thing. My philosophy around training and learning, and it's because I struggled so much with all this stuff for literally years, my philosophy with training and learning is to first see it being done and understand what's happening, and then attempt to try to do it. And for sure, the first time you do something, it's not going to feel right because it's a new movement, completely foreign to you. But as you spend more and more time doing these things, there's trial and error that begins to occur, and what ends up happening is that you begin to be able to self-correct, and once you can self-correct, then you can self-diagnose, and the loop goes back and forwards from there. This is just how it works for me. So let's have a look at me completing the movement. Let's do it in full speed first, and then we'll come back and begin to talk about what exactly is happening here. So what we're adding in part 3 is the connection of the bottoms of the pyramid. Now remember, this drill is not for fighting. This is a balance generation drill, and essentially is a training methodology to help the fighter learn how to move within the restricted area where you are able to easily maintain balance. Now the restricted area is what I call the pyramid, because if you're in the gym looking at yourself in the mirror, when you do this, you'll notice that your head moves in a triangular manner if you're looking straight forwards. Now, what I would suggest you do is attempt to draw as straight a lines as possible when you're completing the movement, because this demonstrates physical awareness and physical control. And this is what we're attempting to do with all of our techniques. So today we're looking to connect the base of the pyramid. So from one corner to the other corner. And you can see as I rotate to the lead side here, I'm going to now connect the lead side to the rear side, and then I'm going to return. Now, notice that I'm not weaving underneath. That movement is not incorporated in this part of the pyramid drill. It comes later. Then I'm going to pop back up to the top. Now, these phases where I rotate to the rear side, lead side, rear side, and up. There are no strikes in part 3. So now that we understand part 3, let's pay attention to what's important to not overlook during these movements. As you know, for the drill, we're attempting to be 50-50 weight distribution for the entire thing. Again, this is attempting to demonstrate physical awareness of your weight as you complete the movement. If we're falling forwards and backwards and transferring weight the whole time, and you're not even aware that you're doing it, well, you need to start paying attention to your weight distribution. That's going to be an obvious reason why you're struggling with your striking. So you need to begin to pay attention to how much weight is on each foot, first of all. So we're 50-50 for the drill, and I want you to look at my feet now and notice that on my lead foot, there's the heel and toe is down, meaning 2 points, and on the rear foot, there's only my toes, meaning 1. Okay, as I rotate forwards, I remain on 3 points on the ground. So now I want you to notice, as I transfer across the bottom to the rear side, notice that I go from 3 to 4 points right here. What I want you to pay very close attention to is that there's a sequence in the movement here. I rotate into 4 points and then across to 3 points. I don't come up onto 2 points and pivot at the same time to the rear side. Whenever we're on 2 points, if we're not bouncing, if inertia and momentum is not our third point of balance, we have a lack of balance. And again, as we rotate back to the front side, it's 4 points and then 3 points. And I come back up to the top with my 3 points. 50-50 weight distribution, and then I'm going to begin to drop down. So here we go again. As I rotate through the second 50% of the movement, from 3 points to 4 points and down to 3. Now from the rear side back to the lead side, 4 points and 3 points, 4 points and 3 points, and then we pop back up 3 points to 4 points and back to 3. This is very important. Don't overlook that part. So now let's go back and have a look at Canelo doing the movement and see if it looks familiar to you. Lead side, rotates to the rear side, and throws the lead side strike from the rear side. Essentially slips down to the bottom of the rear side, transfers across to the lead, transfers back to the rear, and then exits. Now, it's not exactly like the pyramid drill that we're talking about here, but he is connecting the bottoms. Here's another example where he slips to the lead side and connects the bottoms. Now, he is weaving a little bit here, and we'll get to that. You don't have to be rigid in the movement when you're fighting, but for the purpose of the drill, attempting to maintain that perfect control is going to serve you best. Here's another one. Now, he's not even in range now to be hit, but this movement pattern is something that you can use to place yourself in positions to throw powerful strikes. Okay, because what happens when I rotate now from one side to the other? So here he is, he's essentially dropped down, and then he's connected the side to the lead side there, and now he rotates down to the lead side and throws the strike from the bottom, which is clearly part 2 of the pyramid drill. But what he did here to set this strike up is he moved in part 3, which was rear side, lead side, back up to the top, and then he implemented part 2 of the pyramid drill, phase 1 and 2. Bang, right there. Amazing stuff. Now let's have a little look at another one. Here he rotates to the lead side and connects the bottom. And then he begins to pop back up and drops back down to his rear side. Now here's a great example. He drops his weight down to the rear side, slipping to the outside of the jab, and then just connects the bottoms. He does exactly the second 50% of what we've covered in part 3 of the pyramid drill. And he's popped back up. Here's another one. Here he drops down to the lead side, base, moves his body to the rear side, and then he exits from there. So this is him moving within the edges of the spectrum. And these movements, as complex and as difficult as they look being done by him at the highest level, you now have the blueprint to do this. So get in front of the mirror and try to mimic these movements, and pay attention to if you're losing balance, if you're standing on 2 points, if you're crossing over the edge of the spectrum and feeling, again, loss of balance or increase of muscular stress on anywhere in your body. And using this blueprint, you'll be able to self-correct and begin to improve your striking. Now that you've seen those examples, this is essentially how it's happening. Now, I implore you to give this a go. Hop in front of the mirror, practice rotating down to a comfortable position on either side, and then simply go from 3 points to 4 points as you move in a comfortable and balanced way, nice and slowly across to connect the bottoms. But remember, guys, this is not a fighting drill. This is a balance drill. This is something that beginners absolutely can do. Somebody that's not even considering fighting but wants to know about how to move properly and try to understand what the guys at the highest levels are doing. You need to attempt as best as possible to simplify things that are occurring in front of you. Otherwise, they will always appear to be too complex for you, and you'll feel like you'll never be able to understand them. But trust me, this is something that you can simply begin to break down. And now that you have the tools and understanding of part 3, get in front of the mirror and give it a go. Thanks very much for following along. You know where to find me if you have any questions. I'm looking forward to going through part 4 with you pretty soon. Thanks.